everybody. Welcome to Chamisa Uncensored, and I want to say happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are well, because it's a beautiful day. In Jos it's a bit cool, so that's why I've got a jacket, but God is good. Okay, I hope you guys are well. How has been your day? Yeah. Okay, so I just want to say, if it's your first time to pass through this channel, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and also turn on the notification button. It's very important. But if you're my regulars, I want to say shout out. How are y'all doing? It's good to see you guys. It's good to see you. And I'm so excited, actually. It's a beautiful day. God is good that the Lord has made. I'm super excited. What's happening, everybody? What's happening? Okay, so 13 CCC members were recalled. But trust me, Rejoice said George Charamba is bad for ED. I can agree on that one. So we're going to be pursuing 2 stories today. Very interesting. So that us guys, we can have a great time. I am so excited. Hope you guys are well. Shout out to everybody. Welcome to Ruby Uncensored. It's good to see you. Good to see you guys. What's up? All right, so trending stories, a quick one. But I have a question. A question for the day today, guys, is honestly, guys, drop your location, please, let's move along. And don't forget to like the live so that we can push algorithm. But one thing I want to ask you today is, who do you think played a pivotal role during the struggle? Who do you think played a pivotal role during the struggle? I'm going to drop that question as well in the community section. Number one, A actually, is it our parents, or you call them citizens, like we are right now, the Citizen Coalition for Change, or ZANU-PF? Who do you think played a pivotal role during the struggle? A, our parents, citizens of Zimbabwe at that time, were citizens of Rhodesia, or B, ZANU-PF? So please, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. Who played a pivotal role? In my opinion, of course, our parents did play a huge role, but we'll talk further on that as we get into our contents for the day. Very quickly, so Nelson Chamisa sent out a very strong message to ED this morning, to Emmerson Mnangagwa, and he's responding to the recalls of the Citizen Coalition. Oh God. He sent out such a very strong message. And I just wanted you guys to also listen to the tweet. He said developments in Zimbabwe, the callous political motivated abduction and murder of Citizen Tapfumanei Masaya is a tragic and ugly turn of politics in Zimbabwe. This is a clear indication that Zimbabwe is sadly in the wrong hands and heading into a dangerous direction. Agreed 50 million times. It's heading to the dangerous direction. He also says since the 23rd of August 2023 stolen election, there's been an increase in cases of arrests on trumped-up charges, abductions, torture, and forced disappearances, internal displacements, and crimes against humanity targeted mainly at CCC MPs, councillors, citizens, change champions, and activists. All this is happening at tactics, and also antics to divert. This happening is tactics and antics to divert attention from the stolen and sham election. Even the bizarre, choreographed recalls and drama, including the sponsored and engineered script and that manufactured rebellion nonsense, are all designs and schemes to camouflage the electoral theft and heist. We must focus on addressing the disputed election, a broken nation, an ailing and failing economy, political toxicity, and the deeper and bigger challenges and issues affecting our beloved nation. My thoughts. Okay, but there were, again, I think there was a mistake right there. So even the bizarre choreographed recalls and drama, including the sponsored and engineered script, and that manufactured a rebellion nonsense, are all designed and schemes to camouflage an electoral theft and heist. But they will just not succeed on this to cover their vote manipulation tactics and tricks. Mr. Mnangagwa, stop the terrorism and end this impunity and immunity. Stop the abuse and manipulation of state institutions. Stop the illegal elections. Stop the abuse of citizens. Police Zimbabwe, be professional. Be for the people. the country and for the law, protect the citizens, safeguard national integrity and citizen security, arrest the perpetrators and criminals. Citizens want peace, but there is no peace. Give the citizens peace instead of wasting resources over $5 million on illegal by-election and focus on sideshows. Let's focus on the main show. We must focus on addressing the disputed election, a broken nation, an ailing and failing economy, political toxicity, and the deeper and bigger challenges and issues affecting our beloved nation. My thoughts and prayers go to the family of Tapfumanei Masaya, the citizens' family, all Zimbabweans at large. May God heal our wounds and land. May the Holy Spirit comfort us all during this difficult moment. Rest in peace, change champion, Citizen Tapfumanei Masaya. This quite is very disturbing. To me, some Mnangagwa really very disturbing. But I think before I even read what Fazema had to say regarding the same, or actually explore the message that Nelson Chamisa sent, I would really want you guys to take a listen to what Zobgo said. I'm talking of Edson Zobgo during their time. Take a listen to what he had to say about the regime.
Legal order in the country. A socio-legal order in the country in which people are petrified, in which people go to bed having barricaded their doors and their windows because someone belonging to the special branch of the police will break into their houses. This is what we've been fighting against. Every one of us has had to live scared of the police. How on earth could we create a society which is exactly like that? We don't want it. We are fed up of it. And this is why we are in this revolution for as long as is necessary to abolish this system. We do not want to create...
That is Zobgo. So that can show you what our problem has been there since then.
A socio-legal order in the country in which people are petrified, in which people go to bed having barricaded their doors and their windows because someone belonging to the special branch of the police will break into their houses. This is what we've been fighting against. Every one of us has had to live scared of the police. How on earth could we create a society which is exactly like that? We don't want it. We are fed up of it. And this is why we are in this revolution for as long as is necessary to abolish this system. We do not want to create...
Can you hear? We are in this revolution to abolish this system. The very same system that was there pre-1980, that our parents fought during the struggle. They did not want to live like animals. You know, a systems that actually instill fear into the citizens. We are afraid of our brothers and sisters. We seems like we are just running away from something that no one knows. I remember asking you a question, or I mentioned that the very same system, Mr. Mnangagwa ran away from it. The time that he was fired, he ran away from the very same system. And you saw Mugabe fell a victim of the very same system. How many people do you know in Zimbabwe who died under the very same system? As we speak right now, there are so many people also living in fear, even in Zambia, running away or suffering from the very same system. Now the question we need to ask is, why are we keeping the system? Because honestly, the system is not us. It's a system. It is just a system. It's not who we are. We can let go of it. So during the struggle, during the time of Smith, there was a special force was called SAS. You know, it was called the Special Air Force Services. Those people were brutal. They are the ones that were committing all atrocities. To a point where, which includes having a tank for acid. When we were growing up, we used to hear that people are being thrown in the tank of acid, but we didn't know what are they referring to. But I remember listening to a top ex-army commander talking about some of the things that happens within the parameters of ZANU-PF and the system. There is a special command, apart from the army called SAS. There's his allegations. And this is where they trained people for terrorism. And these guys are brutal. He also mentioned that they don't even cut their hair. You can cut anything that you want. There are those very evil men. They kill any minute, any time, and they don't care. But he was narrating how Ita Zamara was killed. SAS. Mr. Jonathan Moyes still have a pinned tweet on his profile where he spoke about the very same group, that system of people, that they came to the house firing shots, even their children. Special Air Force services. A guy said they were trained like terrorists. My question I'm asking is, why do we even keep those systems? If they are a terror to our destiny, if they are not good for our future, he's saying, Zobo, why do you want to repeat? And I've said to me, if you want to be a changed person in life, for example, when you are going through counseling, if you are going through something, you've gone through something, now you're going through counseling, what do? They tell you to let go of your past ways of doing stuff, then enroll something different. Honestly, if we're fighting the systems that we know they were toxic, they were evil, they weren't good for our destiny, why then did we took their stuff and bring them into the new generation? Honestly, I was born in the 80s. We were not supposed to see it. We were not supposed to even hear about it. But here we are in 2023. We're talking about the same story. Why did we take those tanks for acid? Knowing well that was not good for us. Because the guy said it's still there today. Why did we take those stuff knowing that they are not good for the future of our people? They are not good for the growth of the nation. They're not good for all of us. I'm saying no one is safe. Honestly, it's simply a system. But a system we can drop. It's not who we are. We can let go. Because now all of us, we have become slaves of the very system. All of us. And tell me about that. So many she don't want about it. She don't or something. She don't or something. I forgot. Please, if you can remind me. That's not who we are. Zimbabweans, we are known for love. But because we've kept this system for too long, this was happening when I was young. I used to hear these stories, but we didn't have all the details. But look where we are now. Look how it has affected our generation. Because our children were literally born in the same evil systems. They were robbed because of vulnerability, introduced into the same evil that could destroy them. And now we have young men who have no direction. Young men can walk with a K-47. That never happened in Zimbabwe. Threatening their own brother. They're after their own brother. Harassing their own people. Torturing their own mothers. Their own sisters. People are mature enough to be their moms. They are killing them. Because we allowed those systems. We nurtured evil systems. But I said we can let go of them. We will let go of them. It's that simple. We can say, no, this is not who we are. We cannot be known for evil, but we can be known for building, for love, for growth. I'm not saying we won't have those kind of people in between us. Some people are just not good people. But then as long as our culture and systems accommodate love and growth and sharing for each other, then we automatically eradicate that. We need to invest more in love and unity. Very, very important. Now, Fatima said, I wish people could open their eyes. This is not CCC problem. It's a Zimbabwean problem. We understand because we are citizens of Zimbabwe. What they're suffering under these systems that are evil, under the terror from our own brothers that we love, that we care for, that we grew up with. Someone went with them to school. But today, they're becoming animals because of material things. It's a Zimbabwean problem. Who suffers when they're in parliament with no count voice? Nobody challenging the budget. Nobody holding ministers to account. Nobody challenging corruption. Nobody debating legislation. Nobody speaking out against abductions. Nobody holding state institutions to account. And nobody concerned about the raging injustice, violence, and crippling poverty. We all do. The real cause don't fix Advocate Nelson Chamisa. I've told you. Chamisa is a qualified man. He's an advocate. He's got a wife. He's got a family. He saw one of his sons do somewhere at school. He came with A's in A level. That can show you that he's a well-structured man and he's with his own family. So whether things go wrong in Zimbabwe, we suffer the consequences of the nonsense that's going on in the country, not an individual. It's a Zimbabwean problem. We are the one who's suffering with shame. We're moving around shackled with the garment of shame. When you mention you're Zimbabwean, people are like, hey. You heard recently when they're talking about that Zimbabwean smells. We, including me, I was called because I'm Zimbabwean. That I also smell. It can't be called for the few. All of us, including those Zimbabweans who are holding top positions. Some of them are CEOs at MTN, Vodacom. We know Zimbabweans are doing incredible. Who are all playing cute. But you don't play no cute when your country is burning. You are also involved in all this smelling thing. Imagine walking on the corridor and calling Sophia a manager, and these girls are talking. Listen, I've worked in the corporate space. I know what I'm talking about. I've worked even now. I'm still meeting some of the people. I know. I've been there. My first job that I can consider first, apart from the one that I left because the guy was off the rail, I was like, no, I'm not gonna lower my standards to keep a job. Let the job go. But my first professional job that I got, I think was it the only black person? I think, oh no, not necessarily the way, but two other girls. But I remember that place. It was not easy because the moment they knew that I was very competitive, very intelligent, smart, hardworking, they came after me, yo. They came after me. It was hell every day. But the only advantage that I had is my boss loved me. She loved me, the woman, 2 bits. And I was getting more salary than anyone else who was in my team. That's how it was. So I know what some of our people are going through out there. All of us Zimbabweans, we need to take responsibility and eradicate and really speak up and say we can't carry on really nesting the systems that can hurt our people, that can hurt us. That's not who we are. We are better than this. We are greater than this. We can build that country within a short space of time. Zimbabwe is small, man. It's a small country. They fix every single Zimbabwean who is left at the mess of violent, corrupt, dictatorial regime. We all have a duty to fight with acidic attack on parliament. It's truly a battle for the soul of the nation. That's Fazia Mahere. So he said, Mukoba, Jipa, Chirez, Goromond, Seke, these illegal recalls are a direct result of Mr. Mnangagwa's desire to concord a 2/3 majority. So you can change the constitution and entrench a one-part state. It's a naked, choreographed, unconstitutional decimation of the will of the people. Can I tell you what? I know China is a one-part state. Honestly, if that one-part state can save the people, I care less. The only reason why I'm talking here is because it's chaos in the country. It's chaos. And you hear more as we get along that if we want to grow the country, we have to employ competent people. Our cabinet should be top class. Because you affiliate with a political party. It doesn't work like that. Because for ED. And we don't hate you telling you facts. You must have the qualities. You must have the criteria that we're looking for in order for you to grow that department or that ministry. We'll never back down for fighting for a better Zimbabwe. We always stand on principle. We've always tried to bury the authentic opposition. But what happens when you bury seeds? What happens? And then she said, this was I don't know Shabangu, I've never met him. What he has done is an effort to the constitution and an insult to the will of the people. Those recalls are fraudulent and underpinned by desire to create a one-part state. No person driven by values can support this or side with a friend of the oppressor. What I do know is that President Nelson Chamisa was our leader. Our destination is a new great Zimbabwe that works for everyone. We'll get there. And I can tell you, Smith said, there will never be black majority rule. What happened in 1980? It was slashed. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. No one owns destiny, God does. Will you carry on with your impunity? It's because God just He's giving you, the Father is giving you time to change. It doesn't mean that you can wake up and change the situation. You will. In his own time, we're definitely going to change the situation for the people of Zimbabwe. It is very, very important. Now, Transform Zimbabwe said, ED Mnangagwa wants to focus on recalls and so forth. Do we need parliament in order to hold him accountable for command agriculture scandal, drugs, gold mafia, bribing judges, Auditor General's reports showing systematic corruption? We can still hold them to account. Can we? we can still hold them to account. Very, very important. We can still hold them to account. Osano said the elections in Zimbabwe are simply a ritual now. Because what happens after all, unbelievable. So what are we really doing? Please take a listen.
I was abducted during door-to-door campaign. What that confirms and shows is that elections in this country are being held as a ritual without democracy. How can you have an election without choice under ZANU-PF of Mr. Mnangagwa? The election right now in this country, follow what happened in Gutu. The by-election in Gutu is also a signifier of the crisis that we're facing as a nation, because life is being lost on account of politics. But more importantly, the election is never now about the political choice between the ruling establishment and the alternative. Right now, an election in Zimbabwe means two things. If you want life,
Right.
you are forced and coerced to vote for ZANU-PF. If you vote for the alternative, which is your choice, you are actually voting for death in the context of the by-election that we held in Gutu. So voting is no longer about the political choice in Zimbabwe right now under Mr. Mnangagwa. Voting is now about a matter of life and death. It is no longer about the political choice. It's no longer about bread and butter issues. That's why Zimbabweans are being coerced to go and vote. It's actually coercion rather than election, which is the problem that we are facing in this country. Takuto Ngadzo was abducted in broad daylight. We opened a case in police, in Mogoreng police. Takuto Ngadzo's case was reported, and up to today, 2 gun-toting men who are known have
Right.
not been arrested. The police has not given any statement and anything in relation to that. Sengezo Chabangu committed fraud. He abused criminally so the intellectual property of the Citizens Coalition for Change. Nothing has happened to Sengezo Chabangu. Nothing happens. A clear case of impunity that if you work to aid dictatorship, if you work to aid authoritarianism in this country, you are free to continue with anything. Right now, they went to the banks to try and open bank, a criminal conduct to the CBZ, but nothing happens. And these people continue. Why? Because there is impunity to those that are aiding dictatorship and fascism. There are witnesses. There are people, including the one that was tortured. He is a witness to the case, and everyone who participated in the door-to-door are aware. In fact, citizens in Mabuku are aware of the people who took, particularly the vehicle, because this is a vehicle that has been used by members of ZANU-PF in their campaigns. So it's something that happened in broad daylight, signifying the crisis of impunity in the post-August 2023 sham election. So I received the information that the letters had been read in Parliament and have been read in Senate. And obviously, Mudenda, as an officer of the court, can be interviewed by you members of the media so that he says why he has defied the decision of the High Court. We are a constitutional democracy.
You know what's so sad is that even in the midst of someone's death, knowing well that the guy was abducted and he was killed, they still went on to recall further 13 CCC members of parliament. This is how bad our systems are. In the midst of other families that are bereaving, they will still recall people. You ask yourself, are you human? Where is your conscience? No, they don't have no conscience. And that again just justify what the guy said. I told you one of the guys that used to be in the ZANU-PF space. He told me that I had to give my life to Christ when I left the system because I could not begin to look at myself and say, did I allow such kind of things happening under my watch? And I remember he said this, that some of the people you are seeing, most of the people you see, before 8 a.m., they've gone to how many Sangoma in town? Nganga, how many? And my prophets, fake prophets, how many? You can see fake prophets around the space seeking for peace. Because God will never grant them peace. Why? They've been sowing evil. And whenever you sow evil, it comes with a cost. So Newsworks reported that Mudenda defiles recourse court order. There was a court order actually that had qualifies the court qualifies Citizen Coalition for Change to interdict the nonsense of Songezo Shamagu that there must not be no further recourse. But unfortunately, there were still recourse, and they were now forced to go to the court to collect that. And I'm like, guys, We've got a country that needs to be sorted. And all you are doing is chasing people left, right, and center. Where are the principles? What kind of a society are we? And I'm looking at Mr. Mudenda, who I look up to as a father, honestly. Do you guys really sit down and be human and question yourself, what are we doing for this nation? What are we doing for our children? But if they're married, they're young enough to be your kids. I know my parents got married earlier, below 20 actually. My father used to move around with them like my brother in town. People are like, no, that's not your father, that's your brother. Because they got married early in life. Not their daughter who's still single at 40, but it's a different generation. You know what I mean? Different generation. Mudenda is mature enough to be my daddy. What are you guys doing? What are we learning from your leadership as children? Because we are watching you. Whether you like it or not, we are watching you. There's no doubt about that. You can't escape. We are watching you 24/7. And life is happening right now, and we are going to use the very same times that we are here, that is on record, to come after you again a little bit later. We're coming after you. We will remind you, you are the reason why in this predicament. Not because we had to tell you the truth. You watched while the country was going down. You watched while our society was breaking. You watched. So tomorrow, when people start killing you, maybe robbing you, don't complain. This is the culture that you created, impunity, and you expect it to be free from it? No. No one, I say no one is safe from this nonsense that we are creating in the country. Because every crap that we allow, it becomes a culture. It becomes a culture for society. So they reported that in a move which is badly exposes his arbitrary and partisan approach to the current MPs recalls saga coordinated by the state security agents and their shadowy allies using political activists on Ngezo Shavangu. Zimbabwe's Speaker of Parliament Jacob Mudenda today rushed to sanction a further removal of 18 main opposition CCC MPs and senators, defying a high court order for him to stop the action pending hearing on an urgent application by the National Chamisa led by party, challenging his authority to persist doing that. The application will be heard on the 20th of November at 2:30 p.m. A lawyer told the Newshawks, what happened in the court today is that High Court Justice Tawanda Chitapi ruled around 1:30 p.m. that the Speaker of Parliament Jacob Mudenda cannot continue with recalls while we are challenging his authority as CCC to persist with that. His lawyer was told in court to inform him to stop the recalls since Parliament was going to sit at 2:15 p.m. before the order was issued in written form. We eventually got the written order after 4 p.m. when the recalls had already been announced. Although Mudenda was aware, people said I am pronouncing wrong, I must say Mudenda, not Mudenda, Mudenda, right? Okay, sorry, my apologies. Somebody actually corrected me. Although Mudenda was aware of it through his lawyers, who called him about it before the new removal were made. Oh, so you actually knew, Mudenda knew actually prior to the recall, because this quarter, the order was sent out at 1:30 p.m. and Mudenda was in Parliament at quarter past 2, so which means there was almost 45 minutes in between. Correct, yes. If my mathematical head is still okay, because I was very good in maths, actually. Very good. I was known for being a mathematician in school. Oh, yeah. I was top class, top notch in maths, but I hated the English teacher at school. Not like I hated him, but I just did not like that he was too serious for my liking. I like to vibe, like I want to play. Let's talk, let's laugh. But when we move, so he was so serious when he get in the class. I'm like, no way, I can't stand this. So me and him, we could not like, but the maths teacher were like bodies. That's what I was doing well. So we eventually got the written order after 4 p.m. when the recalls had already been announced, although Mudenda was aware of it through his lawyers. Okay, all right. Who called him about it before the new removals were made? This means Mudenda allowed the new recalls when he already knew of the court order to stop them. Effectively, he defied the High Court order, which should have serious contempt of court charges and consequences in a normal and reasonable democratic country with a constitution and separation of powers. And what's so, like, this is interesting how the Newshawks reported it. Very, very interesting. They don't understand one thing, is that all their actions are definitely going to come back and haunt them. They don't get it. They're way too comfortable in power. All their actions are going to eventually come back and haunt them. Yo, I want to be a good grandmama, yo. I want to be that grandmama where everybody respects in society. You don't want to be the grandmother that when you pass, people like they're going to spit on you. That time will come. Elders, stop what you're doing. Sort out the mess in our society, because all this that you're doing today is going to come back and haunt you. There's no doubt about that. You can't escape. You can't escape. I'm asking our elders to stop what you're doing and do the right thing for the people. Forget about power, for the people. So that you leave a great legacy. Can I tell you that these people, if they change today, if they wake up and said, guys, let's sit around the table. We have wronged you. We understand. Please forgive us. We didn't know better, but we can restart this country. They are going to walk out heroes. And the Zimbabweans will write it in history. We respected this generation. These people stood and at least they apologized to us that we messed you up. Please forgive us. Let's move forward. Who doesn't want to hear the word sorry? All of us want to hear the word sorry, aren't we? But they're not willing to do so. They carry on with impunity day after day, day after day, day after day. It's unnecessary. You have heard that you were not supposed to humiliate the people, but you went on to humiliate them in front of everybody. To prove a point. Is that we have made a recall so that the social media will go be on fire. All your ghosts can go around and be embarrassing people. It's very sad. And the people that you're busy mistreating, they're young enough to be like your children. These very same people that you're mistreating are going to be the members of parliament to your children. They don't think that these very people that they're abusing today will be the leaders in the era of their own children, their grandchildren. And the same precedents and culture or foundation that you're creating today will hold water in the future for your children and your grandchildren. They don't think. It's the lack of understanding, too comfortable with instant gratification. They lack vision. They just talk, but they lack vision. It's a fact. But us as your children, we are watching you. And like I said, we are watching you and we're always going to call you to order. We will eventually remind you. Oh, thank God now there's social media. We will remind you. Even your children and your grandchildren will remind them. Well, this is your grandfather who started this nonsense. I don't complain. It is very sad that they don't get that. Now, you rejoice. Said definitely Joy Charamba is bad for ED. I agree 150%. Joy Charamba, the value he drives on social media. As a matter of fact, when I came across Joy Charamba for the first time, I can tell you for the first time, that was my first video that I took. I sent out on Twitter. For those who don't know me on Twitter, Rumbi Uncensored. TikTok, Rumbi Uncensored. Facebook, Rumbi Uncensored. So YouTube, you know, Rumbi Uncensored. So I sent out my video on Twitter. And then, Joe Charamba, using a ghost account, he swore at me. He swore at me in my ways that I can't even say. And at that time I laughed because, you know what, I was very, zen and, and I'm like a lamb. You can do nonsense to me and I can just cool. But when I wake up one day, I'm going to make a decision that suits me. That's the problem, At that time, I remember, I said, who's this person? And because the neighbor was sort of saying, he knows me. So he was like, hey, it's actually George Charamba, this ghost. It was called Tinoezajim. I think Zimbabwe is Varipo, we've been there for a long time. No, it's his account. Then I was like, oh, interesting that actually the secretary in the president's office actually mind about this little person like me who just talking whatever you want to say. So now I know it's his, and eventually it was blocked by, on Twitter after he did nonsense. He was suspended. He has got a new one that's called the Musoro, whatever. I forgot the name again. A new ghost account apart from his Joy Charamba. But people know him for sending vile. Yesterday, you dropped something very disturbing regarding the guy that passed away. The Citizen Coalition for Change guy that passed away. He said that you guys went to prove a point that Urayo. These words came out of Joe Charamba yesterday on Twitter. Unbelievable. This is a secretary in the president's office who's saying such kind of words. I'm sorry to say this. Honestly, Mr. President, ED, Joe Charamba is not good for you. I don't care what you're saying. By the way, people are alleging that he betrayed Mugabe. It's the reason why Mugabe was, knocked down. I guess that's why maybe the president keeps him. Those were allegations by Alinaka on Twitter as well, that he betrayed Mugabe. So which means if a person is that dishonesty, it's very soon he's going to betray the same person they can't be it again. He's not an honest man. But apart from that, he sends vile every day. The words that he speaks on social media, like on Twitter, I'm telling you, you can cry even if you don't want to cry. That's how bad it is with George Charamba. But he's a spokesperson in the president's office, very vile. And he, to me, in my opinion, he's an evil man. Right now, he's even saying, record in parliament. He's laughing. This is a secretary in the president's office. He was laughing also about the guy that was arrested, that is in prison, actually sentenced in prison for calling out the July, protest. You remember him, Jacob Ngarivome. He said, waitangire musindo, ushitangire iwe uchiziva kuti hauzvimiririre, kana waitemba vamwe vachapindira muchasvinura. This is George Charamba, a secretary in the president's office. Speaking like this, he's the same person who swore at Mumba and Hichilema immediately after the report came out. The same person. It's not good for the president. A president of the country having such a person as your spokesperson who don't even know where to draw the line. It's really very sad. But take a listen to Rejoice, please. Very, very powerful statements right there. Take a listen, please.
Yes. Someone else would be in power. True. And they would want to be in that cabinet too. Would they be loyal to him?
Not necessarily, but they will be loyal to the people of Zimbabwe. They will be loyal to the dictates and the demands of the generation they are leading. Because if you look at his old PAC, the Presidential Advisory Committee, it was very cleverly selected. There were great minds in there. And I'm saying, why not go back to that kind of pool of people and say, guys, because rewarding political loyalty does not bring bread to the table of the nation. It brings the table to the loyalists, to the henchmen and the cronies.
But if you're not loyal to your political party, are you not setting yourself up to set something like a vote of no confidence, like a recall and stuff like that?
No, because the constitution really won't. Because the political dynamics in the House of Assembly are completely different from what you have in the cabinet. Here I'm concerned mostly about the delivery, the cabinet delivery, the economy, the political environment, and everything else. I'm saying, you talked about a legacy. And if really he had good advisors, they would say to him, you are about to leave the political landscape. Don't be like your predecessor Mugabe, who died complaining and grumpy and blaming you. Think about your children. Think about your nieces and nephews. What are they going to say about their grandfather, about their father?
Right.
And that makes you change your focus from appointing based on political loyalty.
Right.
And focusing mostly on delivery. We want people that can deliver. You want to sit in a cabinet that can run this country in your absence. And that will take introspection and humility. And if he doesn't have that, like I said, his finishing is going to be a whimper, and he's going to set himself and his family for blame for years to come.
Hundreds.
I mean, looking at the people who are around him, who do you think could be an advisor of not who he should be listening to right now?
Do you know, Blessed, at one time, I've got, my work in civil society, allows me to pick up phones and talk to everybody, because there's no political affiliation in my world. Everything that I say, even it sounds partisan, it's by coincidence. I once had tea with Eddie Cross, he's a friend of mine. And I'm like, Eddie, you are very friendly to Eddie, and you write lots and lots of sense. Why is it that advice is not percolating to these guys? Then this says to me, understand that politicians have two lives. They have the professional lives that they talk about at the World Economic Forum, billion-dollar economy, all that mega deals, and sort of middle income economy by 2030. And there's the political side that focuses on benevolence and rewarding loyalty. So when you advise a president, you can't force them to take your advice. So the ability for Emerson Mnangagwa to absorb advice is going to define his credibility in the next 5 years. Because remember, already his election has been disputed.
Yeah.
So if he performs so well, because the economy is so big, and it makes people stupid in the sense that their memories get to be shorter. I've lived in African countries where the politics is rotten, but the economics is very good.
All right.
If you go to Rwanda, the politics is bad, but the economics is good. If you go to Kenya, the politics is bad, but the economy is good. Even Egypt, even South Africa. So you need advisors who can say to you, can you demarcate between political loyalty and economic delivery? Make your people happy, lots and lots of money in their pockets, strong currency, access to housing, quality water, and all that. The kind of things that CCC is talking about can be done by ZANU-PF, but they can only be done if ED listens to advise that there is a difference between political loyalty and delivery when you make your appointments. The kind of thing that even CCC will suffer from in running its cities and towns. They should differentiate between loyalty and delivery. And once they do that, once they cross that bridge, you can be a dictator as much as you want, like Chinese Communist Party, blessed.
Right.
There's no democracy in China. But China is one of the biggest economies in the world. There's no democracy in Rwanda, but the Rwandese are sitting pretty. So you can, if you are a clever nationalist, you can understand that when I'm making cabinet appointments, let me differentiate between political loyalty and delivery, and you can win. But do I sound like a good advisor to it?
But let's look at his presidential spokesperson, George Charamba. He spoke for Mugabe. He's speaking for President Emerson Mnangagwa, and he comes across with such a harsh tone, such an attack to critics of government. Is that a presidential spokesperson? Then?
In the first place, why was he even taken up as a presidential spokesperson?
Maybe it's good.
Right.
Yeah, he's good, but he wasn't, when he was talking for Mugabe, he wasn't as hardline as he is now. So you can sense that he's now very defensive, hitting out at anything that seems to be, any political target that moves. So in other words, he is bad for international politics. He is bad for brand Zimbabwe. Because if Mnangagwa himself has not done a press conference to say, guys, while I understand what SADC is saying, I don't run ZEC. ZEC is an independent institution. There is diplomacy in this language. Now to go out there and start attacking SADC and saying SADC is Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe SADC, it shows that you don't understand what it is to be a spokesperson for a political national leader. So I am not saying he is a bad person, but I'm saying he needs to culture himself in the way that he expresses himself, because this kind of high-level politics has a lot of diplomacy. This is why even the United Nations cannot come out guns blazing saying to ED, you are totally illegitimate, because they are waiting for the processes in SADC to play out themselves. So meanwhile, you can say, we congratulate you, but the corridors of power in the UN understand what is happening. So George Charamba, I think he needs to understand that the political brand of Emerson Mnangagwa depends on what people he works with say about him. So insulting SADC and throwing brick bets at neighbors Mumba does not enhance the brand of Mnangagwa, because it is already damaged. These elections have damaged his brand. All the goodwill that he had accumulated since 2018 has been destroyed now by these elections. So this is the right time to have a sober person who can be able to, what we call it, damage control. You don't exacerbate the situation as bad as it already that is bad. So he is a bad spokesperson. So if ED was clever, I think he would replace this man and put somebody who is more sober in the way they understand international diplomacy.
Wow, that's quite a lot of jaw-dropping points right there from Rejoice. Powerful points, honestly. But you spoke about the issue of separating, political space and your allies. And this is, an advice I've always been giving people. You know, if you're running a business, one of the things that I always say, don't employ families except if they are qualified to do the job. That's simple. If they're qualified and they understand where to draw a line between personal and business, fair play. Go ahead and do it. This is where the danger is. Your allies as friends, because someone has become an ICT because she was championing pastors for ED, women for ED. That does not qualify to be an ICT minister. She must have the qualities or qualifications of being an ICT minister. People like James Makamba who are being employed by Google, they're incredible Zimbabweans who are top class notch. They were supposed to be the ministers in that space. That's why I've always been saying I'm happy to champion for transitional government, because if we have to dissolve this cabinet we have right now and revamp our society and get the right quality, experienced, professional individuals, notwithstanding your political affiliation, fair play, because we consider the economy. We are not considering that you're my body, you're my relative, I know you and I love you. I can still love you at home, but it's work. We have to serve the people. You know what I mean? That's why only people understand, like couples who understand how to run a business together, know that when we are at the office, we're strictly running a business. When we are at home, now we can love it, we drop our jackets at the door, but at work, it's a business. We have to be professional. It requires understanding. You cannot put someone because it's your child or your friend who's not qualified to do the job as a minister or deputy minister. There's so many qualified professors who are accounting smart, who are smart in finance. Mana Gift Mugano. They were supposed to be the ministers of a thing. We are tired of Mwe. And I'm glad he did not compete here for the by-election in that space. It's time for us to really take time. Silas said, I must give you a shout out. Shout out, Silas. Shout out to you. Oh my God, this is so great. Thank you so much. I must give you a shout out. Shout out. Yo, you must say shout out to Silas right there. And I'm so excited. Thank you guys. Shout out to everybody. But Silas is so important. May God bless you. May God bless you. You know what I mean? We must consider the economy. Guys, listen. If Zimbabwe had a functional economy, money everywhere, things working, I didn't care if ZANU-PF was in leadership. I was not going to care. Who was going to care? Nobody. Nobody was going to care. This worries me the most. Let me tell you why I'm so worried. I'm very worried that the people that hijacked the struggle, they never had love for the people. I can only imagine right now when we are all coming together and said we need to revamp our society. The goal is to have a very conducive, loving, united Zimbabwe, isn't it? How come these people, these elites, the few who have hijacked the Zimbabwean dream, don't have the love for other people? Why? They do not have the love for other people for a reason. May God bless you. They don't have the love for the people. You must be a lover for the people. Mr. President, Emerson Mnangagwa, Your Excellency, me here, the little piece, me, Rumbi, here, I'm talking to you as a father, and say, we need the right people to do the job and fix the country. If there's money, I don't care. You can stay there for 100 years if you want to. You can even leave, I don't know, whenever you want to. But the only reason why we are saying we need to change is because the country isn't functioning. That's the only reason. Otherwise, who cares? Do you see people from China complaining about one-party state? No. The country is booming. Kids are learning. Innovation at primary, like crash level. Chinese are successful. That even America's begging on their innovation. That's what we're talking about. If the country is functioning at Nabasa, we don't care. All we want is to see Zimbabwe that is functioning. But now we want change because there's too much of allies, friends who are not qualified to do the job. It's too much of friends, buddies, We don't have time for that. We want a country that functions. That's exactly what Rejoice is saying. Yo, did you see ZANU-PF supporters who were crying that they were homeless? Their houses were burnt. They were chased out of the space, and that mama that was crying. Please take a listen. The most heartbreaking thing ever. And this can tell you what no one knows Zimbabwe is safe. Honestly, no Zimbabwe is safe. Whether you vote for them, you're not safe. Whether you believe in them, you're not safe. Whether you're going to go and save at Butulik, you're not safe. Take a listen, please.
Vanchauya zvekuti nhasi chaita ndizvoni tibve panapa namai vari munda uri apa. Rodhi ino iyi istate land. asi takunzi tibve pano apa hurumende yachona ndo yakati choita pano saka toita sei choitepi naiveni aininangu development.
Okay, so one of the lady that was crying, my lady there, he had a child that she was warding. So these people actually are staying outside. They don't have a place to stay. And so definitely they are claiming that there's a rich person who bought this space, or it was the farm belonged to someone, whatever the case was. The person is wearing a ZANU-PF t-shirt. And they're claiming that they actually vote for ZANU-PF, during this election, this past shame drama that happened to me. I never call it an election. My heart is bleeding. My heart is bleeding. I think there is a lack of understanding among our people when it comes to riches and wealth. These two things are misunderstood. Our people think that when you accumulate, you're wealthy. No. Wealth is peace. Wealth is in the heart. When you accumulate at the expense of the poor, you're cursed. It's a curse. There's no wealth there. You may look like it's happening for you, but let me be honest with you, your children and your children's children will pay for your deeds. The Bible says that children will suffer because of the sins of their fathers. These are sins that you are sowing. People are crying. And I'm asking a question. You have a place to stay. They don't have. You are removing them to do what? Last time it was Charamba who went and also removed people from the place. And I'm asking myself, you have a place to Charamba. You're staying in there. I don't know how many beds. You said 50. Is it 50, 35, whatever, bedroom house? Your children, all over, they are well, comfortable. Great. Fair play. Give other people a chance to also live and be comfortable. What kind of a country and the people that we are having in Zimbabwe that we do not even understand how to become a people again? How to care for your brother and for your sister and for those around you that may be in need. That's what's called life. That's what life, it's not about what you think, accumulating, taking everything from the poor. That is not wealth. Those are the riches that the Bible spoke that they come with a curse. But there are also riches that you work, these are the ones that add sorrow. But the ones when you hardly work for stuff and you care for people around you and you're a blessing to them, you become blessed. A blessing can never be compared by material things. You can have all the material things and wake up and commit suicide. I've seen many of them doing it. You ask your questions, but they had 20 Ferraris parked. That's why one of the monks sold a Ferrari, went to the bush to seek peace. Material things don't bring you peace. They can give you a bit of comfort, and it's very possible to sleep on the most comfortable bed and still be miserable, and you can't even sleep. Many people are having comfortable beds, they can't even sleep. You heard, most of these guys are literally going after Sangoma and fake prophets seeking for peace because they're cursed. The problem is we do not understand how to build wealth. Building wealth starts from treating people the way you want to be treated. What's going on in Zimbabwe is scary, especially being done by elders who's supposed to lead the way, who's supposed to show us the way. We look up to them, but they are completely lost. And we are worried because they're going to create a lot of problems for us. Innocent people are being murdered. It's a curse on the land. On the land. It's the land that will be cursed because God won't allow it. It's very sad. Take care of everyone around you. Be a for blessing to those that doesn't have. If you see someone who doesn't have, if you've got 2 farms, please call and give them a place to maybe shelter themselves for now, where there are some arrangements that can be made. If you have one, if I had one, I could give them. I could have done something immediately. I was even thinking of phoning someone and said, what can we do to shelter these people? It's sad. And they're collecting. And that man don't even do anything for them. They're dirty, filthy. Most of them are very dirty. They don't even look like the money they are stuffing in foreign lands. As a matter of fact, the money they are stuffing in foreign land is being enjoyed by people. Is it wisdom to loot from your nation and then you stuff the money in Dubai? People in Dubai are living top-class life. And in Zimbabwe, you are driving on potholes. Who is a foolish person here? Who is a fool here? Is a Zimbabwean who stole the riches in the country, stuff them in Europe where people are living the best lives, and they still drive on potholes. Foolish man and a foolish woman. Lack of wisdom, lack of understanding. But a smart and intelligent woman will say, no, let's take our minerals, let's fix the roads, let's build our nation so that we can enjoy it. Some of you, because of the money you're stuffing there, you are scared, you are running away. The moment you die or something happens, because you don't have access to it, it's going to go back to the state of the very same nation. And the man could have served your own people. Lack of understanding. I know people are looting money from DRC. I know some of my clients that I know. You could see the tracing of the monies and people are crying. You see DRC, things are bad. And I know those people. And they were spending the money like nothing. And there was a time things went very bad with those properties. I remember very well. Bad. Because you're cursed. Some of these your slave queens that you're buying houses out there. And there'll be fights. We know. It's not going to end well. We know. We have witnessed a lot of things going on. Very sad indeed. Lack of understanding. Fix your country. Return the money, fix the country. Minerals must fix the country for your enjoyment. How does that feel? Walking around in town in Harare when everything is clean. When you're an elder, walk past 65, uchifamba zvako, uchipina muna great. Kudara, the face was clean. Muna greater means now it's all. It's a shame. That's your legacy. That's your legacy. You can change. It's not too late to be right. My dad always say, it's not too late to be right. You can change right now and be different. It's not too late to be right. We can fix Zimbabwe right now. It's a small country, man. We can fix it. Let people buy in Mashingo, Louis Vuitton. Let's have airports everywhere. Mashingo, Kwekwe, everywhere. People should fly from one point to the other. It's possible. Not kuti ukabia nechibheki chako cheshana unofunga kuti washamisira town. It's poverty mentality. Poverty mentality. Poverty mentality. Very sad indeed. Okay, that's all I have for you right now. I love you so much. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. See you a little bit later. I'm coming back in the afternoon. I love you so much. And what's the name of that person again? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, guys, there's actually a $sign where you can You can, if you, I'm not a person who force people. If you feel like you just want to be of a blessing to me, you know, you can drop an amount. Listen, everything really matters, you know. So somebody sent me something and was like, shout out my name, and I did. I know, thank you so much, may God bless you. And so you can be of a blessing, you know. I don't care how much it is, really. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around with me. I appreciate you so much for your support. It means a lot, really. May God bless you all. So have a great day if you are like me. But if you're from the other side of town, Europe, if you're still sleeping or waking up, whatever the case may be, I want to wish you the best of God. And I love you so much. And please stick around. I'll see you a little bit later. Bye for now.